I would just say no, I'm streaming now.
Streaming what?
Playing this. All the things that I'm doing right now.
Okay, I broke out of that bunker. Oh, so you want me to go fuck off then?
I mean, I'm just letting you know that anything you say is going to record. You don't have to per se fuck off, but I'm going to be listening and responding to YouTube videos and stuff, so.
Okay, I'll just go hop off then. Catch you later.
Let's check this out.
You're not actually streaming. Oh, I can stream the other way. Okay.
If I'm correct. Eat. Get started. Okay. Yeah, it looks like. That works. got to be a would it be? Got to be a would it be? Got to be a would it be? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Huh? I'm not quite sure how it's gonna work. Okay, let's try this. Okay, huh? I'm not quite sure how it's gonna work. Okay, let's try this. All right, a little too loud. Let's get started. Oh, wait. Could I? Is there a way to play it like in order? Let's see here. Okay. Can I?
It's the morning.
I guess we'll see. Oops, wrong thing.
It's the morning after Donald Trump was found guilty on 34 counts. You've got one side of the aisle gloating and laughing, saying this is the rule of law. The other side, of course, is saying something dark has happened to our country. And it's wild because there have been many dark things happening in this country for a very long time. But I suppose targeting your political rival with criminal prosecution in numerous ways to stop him from winning an election is particularly dark because it's the end of the system.
Interesting.
It's fascinating to me, though, that so many Americans don't care about or tolerate murder, kidnapping, military rendition, extrajudicial assassinations because it doesn't affect our system. It reminds me of the Joker in Dark Knight when he says, if I told the press that, like, a busload of soldiers will be blown up or a gangbanger will get shot, nobody cares. It's all part of the plan. But when he says one mayor will die, everyone loses their mind. I certainly think it's a bit more extreme seeing the front runner for the 2024 presidential election being threatened with prison, convicted. It's particularly extreme, and I understand why people are shocked. But there is a lot of stuff going on that needs to be broken down. And so I can just say, first, we are going to, we don't normally do this, but it's such tremendous historical news at 11 when Trump gives his press conference. We will pull it up. It is going to be in line with our conversation. I just want to say, though, I wake up feeling relief that Trump was found guilty, because now it means that we can go after Barack Obama for the extrajudicial assassination of Abdulrahman al-Awlaki.
I don't think that would be a wise idea.
Signed off on. I know. I wish I was kidding. Or I'm sorry. I wish I was kidding about that. But the reality is I'm kidding about him actually going to jail for it. The first ever prosecution felony charge of a former president was not for the extrajudicial assassinations, the illegal wars, the stealing of money, funneling off our resources, destroying the American, all of these things. It was because improper filing of documents. That's the game they play. Oh, well. So we're going to talk about government corruption. We're going to talk about just a whole bunch of stuff. We're hanging out today on the Culture War with Maya, also known as MIA, singer, rapper. What do you go by? Musician?
Musician. Artist is good. Yeah, artist.
Right on.
Yeah.
And you've got anti-EMF clothing.
I have a clothing brand launching today. It's called Omniwear. And yeah, I wanted to come on your podcast to talk about that because it is all about data and privacy and things like that.
Right on. And we'll talk a lot about Shane's joining us.
I'm excited to be here.
Hi.
I'm excited to talk about all the dissent that we should be doing with someone who's been a dissenter and one of the
For a long time now.
the rare actual dissenters
Haven't
in
been
pop culture.
droned yet.
Well, let's knock on wood, Maya.
Let's knock on wood, but here's some of the protective wear that limits some of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to talk about that because it's like chic tinfoil hat, right?
It is. So, like, over the last past, I would say, 4 years, I got branded as a conspiracy theorist. It's a label. So I decided to make a label. And the first thing I'm launching is a tinfoil hat. And so...
What's the website? Omniwear?
It's omni.com.
Oh,
Can
wow.
you say what started the rumors of you?
Pat,
being a
enough.
conspiracy theorist? What did you
Wait.
do?
How
I
do you
guess
spell
it
Omni?
was
OH.
OHMNI.
Sorry.
You go to omni.com.
Got some cats.
I don't know if it's live
MNI?
right now, but it's going live today. Okay, so just keep refreshing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought a hat. I bought also some other. This one has a hat that we can talk about. So there is a bucket hat, which is reversible, so you can wear it
Man.
black, and you can.
Hope
also
they
wear it
kinda
silver
get to
if you
something
want.
Interesting soon.
It's good for Virginia because it's a sun hat.
Oh, cool.
See? And all the hats are lined with silver, copper,
Silver.
and yeah. So this what I'm wearing is silver.
Wow.
It's real silver. So
So
when
you
the
don't get
stock
VO
market
either.
goes
That's
up and
secret.
down on
Oh,
silver.
yeah.
Our products kind of might get affected. We're still figuring it out because this is our first collection.
It's also antibacterial, silver and copper.
Yeah. So this is detachable. You can limit the amount of protection you need. But yeah, so I made some hats and I made an entire clothing range. I was like, why stop there? And it's really good for like pregnancy. And so we made like maternity dresses and things like that. So
Why did you make it?
I made it after Yuval Harari said all humans are hackable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The
so
World
then
Economic Forum guy.
decided- I was like,
Ugh.
that's a really great
AD driving's a lot harder.
thing to work off.
It's okay.
And this is just giving you a choice. Like if you want your heartbeat measured every time you go down the high street in a smart city, you don't have to wear Omni. But if you don't want that, today you want to own your own data and your own biometrics and your own stuff, then you could just put on Omni and it kind of holds it off for a bit. And like I have a do-rag and this is a mesh, which is metal. And you put it on and you can choose when your Neuralink is operational.
Oh man.
So that's really.
But you
what
wouldn't
it
get the
is.
Neuralink, would you?
Huh?
You wouldn't get the Neuralink, would you?
I wouldn't get it. I don't need it. But hopefully it is what they're saying. It's.
I'd
for,
be
which is
interested
to
in
make people
entertaining the idea of
who
that.
need it in a medical way.
That's how it starts.
Yeah.
That's
but-
how it starts.
You don't need it now, but you'll need it in 10 years. What's going to happen is
Well, we're going to be told we need it.
I mean,
it's going to be
it'll
like
probably
a cell
make
phone
things
now.
more
You're gonna
efficient.
you're gonna be working on your latest album or whatever, and they're gonna say, "This is fantastic. We definitely want to do a big deal with you. Can you give us your Neuralink username?" And you're gonna say, "I don't have Neuralink," and they're gonna go, well, how do we get in touch with you?" And you're gonna say, "Just call me on my phone." And they go, well, "No one here has a phone." And then they're gonna be like, "Is there someone else we can reach out to?" I mean, this is, and they're gonna say, "Look, sorry, if you want to work here, you want to work with us, we need to be able to contact you." That's how it is. I mean, could you imagine if someone was like, "I don't have the internet"? They'd be like, "What?"
Well, that's why I there's a phone that gets you off grid. Yeah, this is
Is that,
the phone
can I see
case.
it? It'll turn my phone off.
Yeah, you can put it, and then you can try to
Grab
call,
that.
and it will turn it off.
It's like nice material too.
So inside it's lined.
You said you were in Dubai
My phone's
for
too
the
big already.
apocalyptic storm. Were you wearing your Omni in all that fake rain?
I actually was,
And?
because I was there for Omni, and I was, and I kind of sleep in this stuff too.
Let's see.
So
Here.
I did think, wow, something's going on, because everybody's like, this is a force majeure, it's an act of God, and you're here in the apocalypse. And I was like, wow, like God really hates me. What of all places and all times, I've never been to Dubai, and here I am, first day, boom, the apocalypse. And I was like, how? But
Shit,
then
I need
it
some
was
water,
also
some
the
food.
crazy week where Iran and Israel were fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing was going on.
Yep.
And so the clouds were kind of coming from the Iranian side as well, because we're on
Almost.
the coast. So I
Okay.
didn't really know what was going on. It's like, is this somebody getting trigger happy on the weather
Let's
machine?
I think it's that.
Fix
Is
some
it coming
stuff.
from Iran because some cloud was generated to block something, and then someone went crazy on it? And or is this Israel testing some weather machine, or is this like, you don't know, because you're right there in the center of where it's coming. And the floods kind of went from Dubai, and then I think it went to Afghanistan. It moved in a direction away from Iran.
Can I make myself a cooking grill?
So I was there, and this stuff,
We're requiring a workstation.
it's really interesting in a city like that, because they are super modern. They are going on turbo in terms of smart cities and things like that, and so it's perfect.
Maybe the
there.
metalworking bench.
It's just going to be part of it. It's the fabric of
There it
modern
is.
life.
Do you think
Okay.
were they receptive to this type of fashion?
They don't know yet
Grill.
what Omni the brand is.
Forge,
This is the first time I'm actually going on air talking about it.
Oh wow.
I did go on Gwyneth's Goop show in terms of the maternity dress, and I think she was interested in it, and she had a lot of
There it is.
flack for talking about it on her show. She got cancelled.
Because she's now considered a conspiracy theorist.
Oh look, there it is. It's live.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh,
Woo!
Silver.
Alright.
Wow,
Snow
that's the
Pet.
first time I'm seeing it live.
Yo, you gotta. Have you talked to Alex Jones?
Not yet.
Okay.
You got
That'll
it.
be
I feel like.
He
Alex needs
owes
to
me
wear
a
this.
career.
Yeah.
He owes me my music career back. Because he is the guy that my last record was cancelled over.
Why? Why? What
The
happened?
day I said that tweet was
Nighttime, day
unfortunately
27.
the day
Okay.
that my record was going to be released to the world.
What
that
was
I'd
the
been
tweet?
working on. It was about lies.
Fortunately, a bug
lies
happened, and
on
I
the internet,
lost a lot of my
And I
stuff on this
said,
server, so I'm gonna have to
people
come back.
can't be fined $1 billion
Lost my
for
truck.
lying,
That's
because
okay.
So many people lie.
Yeah.
Like I can think of like 25
I'll get it
people that need
back,
to be
and
fined
I'll
$1 billion
continue transferring to my
right
snow
now.
base.
Every president we've had.
I just prefer
That
the
has
snow.
been detrimental to humanity.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
not just the emotional
Those
suffering
should be done.
of families
Mhm.
that were part of this incident, but lies that have changed the course of humanity.
Yeah, they engineer the narrative of
Yes.
life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
I was actually thinking of it in a positive way. I wasn't defending him. I was
Okay,
like,
let's
yo, if
get
we're going to
this
find people for
show.
lying, this is a great thing. Let's go and make that list,
Right,
you
right.
know? And let's
Start.
go and find people.
So
And,
what happened to your record?
and they pulled my record. I
When was
got
this?
cancelled.
That was
This
4 years
was-
ago?
No, this was October 2022.
So wait.
Wow.
Who was they though?
I'm walking out.
nice.
Walking out.
Nice.
Who are they?
No, you said
Who are they?
the record label.
The record label, yes.
They canceled your album.
Yes.
But,
Is this Jay-Z? Can we get into that?
I was on island.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on island.
wow, that's wild. Has the music come out or what's going on with it?
That was it. It got cancelled, and I got dropped off all the magazine covers. You know, like GQ dropped the cover.
Food.
I think people from Vogue and stuff like that. There was loads of press lined up, and
Did
everything.
I not?
Cancelled it.
It's worth noting this is not the first time you've pissed off entire portions of the world.
No, it happens on a regular basis.
When was the
Ooh.
first, what would you say would be the first time you did something that gave you all that pushback?
I think the first would be when I
Oh,
released my
need
first
that.
song, Sun Showers,
Mhm.
and I said, like, PLO, I don't surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had loads of people turn up to my shows and write into the government and stuff and say, this person should not be touring in America. And this was 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I guess it should be
that's
clever.
when
Well-
I started having issues with the visa.
I don't have to
So
go that
before
far.
2005, I've been to America many times,
Mhm.
and it was just smooth. You know, everything was cool, and I was traveling with Elastica band, and I went to every single state. Like there was no problems. But when I released that song, people would write in to the FBI and stuff like that, and be like, "She's saying
I have
this
enough
and
fuel
this
for
is
now.
They
good."
called you a terrorist sympathizer?
That was it.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning.
So it's weird to me that you can mention PLO in a pop song, however many years, 10 years ago, and
I guess I
now
should
it's
shut
shut
years
that
ago.
guard
I'm
on.
stuck
Yeah.
obviously in the 90s. And then now it's like a glamorous thing in pop culture. Like the Hadids can come out and say all this stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like glamorized. But like, why is it?
what is PLO for those that don't know?
Palestinian Liberation Organization, and my dad was part of the revolution in Sri Lanka, and so when he started, his movement was called Eros, and when he started, Eros was trained by the PLO in the 70s, and so they were kind of connected to the
Right.
cause, but they were connected to, I think, every single cause in the 70s, because there were revolutions popping up all over the world,
Mhm.
and that was a very normal thing that you basically train with the PLO.
I just saw the boxers, and I'm like, yo.
Yes,
Potency.
these allow you
Potency.
to have generations. This
I was
is what
thinking-
God wants.
I'm like,
Have generations. This is pro-humanity. This is so people can deal with the fact that,
It's good. This is important.
this is important
This is
stuff.
important.
It's gonna allow people to have babies.
yeah. As soon as I saw, I'm like,
Why
looking at all the
not?
shirts, and I'm like, I get it, And then I saw that, and I was like, oh, now I really get it.
Yeah, it means you can put your laptop on your lap and
Not gonna
work
fry your
it,
nuts.
and it's not
Nope.
gonna fry you, and you can still have babies. And these tracksuit bottoms I'm wearing is the same. So half of this is got silver lining, and this is normal. But you can put your laptop on there, and your room is protected, or your
Saving humanity.
privacy. That's
Saving
what
hu-
I'm here
so,
to do.
So I was gonna say it's weird to me that you get so much
Me
flack
too.
for all that
What a
20 years ago
coincidence.
for saying that,
And
but now
I'm
it's
just about
glamorous.
humanity.
But now it's glamorous
Right.
to be a activist. Whereas
Oh yeah,
I think you're gonna sell every single one of these. I think it's gonna
There's my
sell.
tinfoil hat.
I know.
oh, that's sick.
And
I'm
it's
like, dude.
reversible.
Fred Durst needs one of these on tour right now.
And Joe Rogan needs
Yeah.
that. He's got a
The-
big
I-
head.
These are gonna.
Wow.
Like, he's got a lot of surface area to, attack. So,
I feel like all of this stuff is gonna sell out instantly.
Good.
so that's my son modeling it.
Oh
He's
wow.
15,
That's awesome.
And he's named the I Kid.
That's awesome.
So I thought, what's better to bring this into the world than I Kid, who's
Yeah.
very, came out the same year iPhones did.
The poncho, is that the poncho? Is that the poncho you're talking about?
That's the poncho, the anti-drone poncho.
Which one? This one right here?
Yeah,
That's great.
Wow.
yeah, it's anti-surveillance and anti-drone.
Probably.
But we'll.
Are these gonna help?
Oh right, but this is the
Are
leggings.
these gonna help root out
That's
the
the leggings.
the NSO
You're
groups?
into yoga.
Hopefully, if you wear these, it will help negate the Pegasus spyware getting into your phones. You know about all that stuff. Like the
I-
NSO group.
I feel
I
like
don't know. I'm trying. I'm not an expert. I'm just beginning.
Well, I think we need
this,
it.
I think the underwear sells out instantly.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a bunch of women who are gonna buy this for their boyfriends or husbands or whatever,
yeah.
and they're gonna be like, "We're having kids," and they're gonna put it on.
I think
Yeah.
if you're interested in having families, this is the
Yes, I
brand
actually
for you.
do.
Yep.
You know, it's like also like for my son, he's a teenager, and I have to make something that's cool enough that he's been to those jeans, so you can see that it's 50%
These right here?
silver, yeah, and 50% denim.
Do you make
and
him wear it
can
all?
put- Well, it's all new to him, because I didn't get into the US for the last 6 months. And so I made this outside of the US.
Right.
And then I just got my visa. And so then I was like, da-da-da-da, like, I just wanted to make it a surprise. And we made this,
Yeah.
happen in that time I was away.
Wow.
I should
I'm
be
a bit
able to
disappointed
leave
you didn't call it a fanny
here
pack though.
the latest by
Called it a waist bag.
tomorrow morning, I think.
Okay, I will change it.
I'm kidding. I'm
Oh, no.
kidding.
Change that.
Waist
You
bag-
guys say
waist
fanny pack in the
rebrand.
UK?
We say bum bag.
Bum bag.
Yeah.
That's
So-
interesting.
Yeah, because in the US, fanny means butt,
That's right.
Ah,
What if I
but in the
wanted
UK,
to-
fanny means something else.
but bum means butt too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
But like, if you were to say
What?
fanny pack in the UK, it would mean something very different.
Yes, true. We don't say that at all there.
Fanny bag,
Yeah.
or what is it? Yeah.
But that's also like it gives
Fanny
you a
pack.
pocket inside where you could go off grid, and it's an option. If you want your friends to call you, you could put it in one compartment. If you want to go completely off grid, you put it in a different compartment.
Was it hearing that he could hack our bodies that set off you looking into all these different things, or were you already on a path of like we're being poisoned at every possible front?
Well, I just think that
I swore I saw ass.
I think it's an interesting time. We're not going to stop the fact that people are going to build smart cities, and
No.
during COVID, it was just like such an aggressive sell of that thing.
Maybe my bike?
And I went into a mall, and it was
Boopity.
a shop, a Chinese shop called Uniqlo,
Mhm.
and they bought this new technology where you could just grab whatever you want in the store and you put it into this bucket, and the bucket just tells you what you got. Yeah,
Oh.
and
So,
then
like-
just
Weird.
tells you.
Ugh.
You don't check out anymore. You just put in the.
You don't check out, and you don't even have to put it
That's
neatly.
tempting.
So it's like
This
I've got
place is
ADD.
clear.
So you
What
just
bucket
like,
is that?
Maybe
they
in medical?
stuff it into this thing, and this thing says, "Oh, you got 10 items, and this is how much it is," and then you just
Wow.
swipe and go, and it's not tagged, So I was like, "Wow, that's incredible." But this is such a powerful technology. Then I realized that the entire shop was the bucket. So you walk in,
Yep.
and the shop is looking at what the last song I listened to, what the video I watched and what colors I like, and it's using AI to analyze my phone and everything, and then doing my facial recognition and
Oh, well.
looking at my reactions and my eye movements at certain clothing, and it's so sophisticated. And I was like, wow, this is like the shop is a box.
Yeah.
And then I stepped out of the shop, and I was like, whoa, the street is a box.
Earth is a box.
And then I was like, whoa, the whole city is
Yeah,
a box.
exactly.
And then it was like, we're not going to stop that.
Yeah.
It's like the traffic lights are doing that and the CCTV. So in England, you're like, we're the most surveillance country in the world, and we have all of this technology constantly bombarding us. And I thought I was going to move to a farm, but I didn't. And I carried on living in a city. And then I was like, okay, there has to be something that then helps me. If I can't take my son and live on a farm off grid and running around in a field, grounding myself, then I have to bring that to the city. And what are you going to do? You know, and it's like, am I going to grow vegetables on my roof? Am I going to, you know, plant a tree in my house? Like, what am I doing? And this is one of the things that I feel like I can merge a 15-year-old fashion conscious mind right now. He's really into it, into health, you know.
Think,
smart.
think about what the future's going to be like. You walk into this store. Amazon did this. I remember when Amazon launched their market. You walk in, grab whatever you want, you walk out, and then it just tracks everything you're doing.
Must
and,
be a bigger furnace or something.
Apparently that was a lie.
No, so it worked,
Yeah.
but I easily exploited it. So as soon as it opened, I went there and I filmed myself taking whatever I wanted without paying for it. Very easily. It was paid for. We just used an exploit. I'm not going to explain because it still works today. But I was able to go in, fill up a thing, walk out. We did pay for everything. I called Amazon right away and let them know that I had done it, that we had. I was able to walk out without paying, but we made sure someone made sure every item was paid for. And I filmed a time lapse doing it. But my concern is,
Jesus.
yeah, and their
Pretty cool.
response to me was basically like, oh, we don't care. The amount of money that we save by not having employees covers the cost of loss. Literally don't care at all. It's meaningless to us.
Well,
I'm like,
there you have
it's
it.
kind of weird. People are going to steal. And they're like, yeah, don't care. Here's a funny thing. They got rid of it, and they're getting rid of self-checkout because everyone's stealing.
Yeah.
But here's what the future's going to be like. You walk into the store with these 15-minute cities, these smart cities. You walk into the clothing store, and you go, ooh, this shirt looks good. There's no tag on it. You put it in your basket. Oh, I need a pair of socks. I need some underwear. You throw it in your basket. No tags on any of it. You walk out. You check your app. You've been deducted, $326 because of, inflation, right? Your t-shirt's going to be expensive. But where does that money come from? What does that money mean? It's all going to be a social credit score. Yeah. As we're moving into the AI world, automation, the calls for UBI and all this stuff, how will you get money to be able to go in and grab those clothes? You're going to be a good model citizen. You're going to be high social credit score. And then if you have a high social credit score, they're going to say, you've got an extra $2,000 allotted to you this month for having a score over 800. And then you can walk in, take whatever you want. You walk into the McDonald's or whatever, and you just press cheeseburger, and then just boom, pops right up for you, and you don't even got to transact anything. It's all tracking you. It's looking at your eyes, looking at your face. The machine is watching you everywhere you go, judging you. You crumple up your wrappers, and you accidentally throw one in the wrong one. Oh, no, that was recycling. Social credit score goes down, and you go, oh, crap. So you jump in, you grab it, pull it out, you wave to the camera, and you put it in the recycling and say, no, I did it. And then boop, 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 goes back up.
I would say China already has that to a degree.
Yep.
I remember seeing people locked out during lockdowns of their houses and apartments, and they couldn't use
you
like,
better get
hand
down.
devices to get in. They were like, have to sleep
Yeah, that
outside in
was
the
scary.
parks.
Whoa.
Yeah, and UK is really bad with surveillance. Aren't there people right now taking down those cameras?
I hope
they
so.
played
God, that's
those.
crazy. I feel like there's a
What?
camera everywhere when I've
Sickness.
seen pictures of like England and stuff.
Yeah, so that's
There it
cool
is.
that they're incentivized to do that. This is not good if the London mayor's listening to this, but that's nice when people take matters into their hands
Perfect.
to slow down what's
Perfect,
going on,
perfect.
because in the UK it's not a social credit system. It's just too it just like grinds society to a halt. This is another thing we're talking about, creativity and artistic expression, and how some of these things are really important to society, and artists think we need some
Good. Okay.
space to think. It's not easy to think
Once
in a
those are
box,
done, I can start
and,
that.
and I think with all the monitoring systems that's in place, and they have apparently the most sophisticated camera on street cameras. So when they, if you're speeding, when they do the speeding ticket, like it's this incredible sophisticated camera that scans you in 3D and sees the inside of the car, and like it can see if you're texting while you're driving, and
Insane.
and you're like, wow, this I can't
like,
make
wow,
heads
you
or
mean
tails with this kind
I'm
of
gonna have to
technology, you know, without
Right.
it being such a crazy thing. But we
realize
have
that we're meant
on
to
a
become one
speeding
society.
ticket.
Yeah, it's
They've had
Fine.
crazy.
They've had devices for decades
Mhm.
that shoots a laser, and when the laser hits glass, it can translate the vibrations in the glass into audio.
That's
So if you're
awesome.
in a room talking, they
Wow.
point it at the window, and then they get a low resolution audio, and they can hear you talking.
Oh,
And that's been for like 30 years.
We've been under global surveillance for decades. I
Mm.
mean, the UK is in the Five Eyes program with us, and Australia, New Zealand. Forget who the other one might be in that.
Canada.
Canada.
Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and US.
But see, this is what makes me get more spiritual.
How so?
Demons.
Well, I wrote a book about this on Omni, and it got taken down. It was called Omni 9, and it was about
gotcha.
it's about the universe and how it is coded in mathematics, and you know God sort of codes all this stuff, and then the demons use their own understanding of maths to decode it, you know. And surveillance and monitoring and all of this stuff is
Well, that's dope.
done to monitor human beings because the belief
Dracarys.
of human
You need to get
being
down.
matters, you know, which side they empower. So when humans
You don't go up
believe
there.
in God's
You know, we don't let
strengthened,
you up on the table.
and, you know, the angels are strengthened, and when they
Just because I'm injured doesn't mean I won't get out of this chair.
down the, you know, confusion route, then demons are empowered. So the only way to do that is through technology.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
dookie.
and so that was the book, and it, yeah,
But you recently became Christian.
I became
Yeah,
a Christian. Yeah, I
Charlie.
got baptized.
When was that?
I got baptized in 2022, but I became a Christian in, I guess, 2017.
What sparked that
Nothing
that
really
awakening?
different about this.
My real name is Madangi, right? And it's the goddess of music and spoken word.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, in Hinduism,
That's pretty
which I
cool.
didn't know. So I grew up an atheist. Even when I came out as MIA, I was an atheist. And my dad always said religion is used as it's a tool for social control. And he was raised Catholic, though. And so then I guess after I made the Maya album is when I found out what my name meant.
Probably.
After I got cancelled for saying connected to Google, connected to the government. And that was the opening of the record. And then obviously WikiLeaks and everything came out in 2010 to 11, around that
Believe it.
time.
Okay. Yeah.
But this record came out just
Yep.
before it. And
And
so then,
yeah.
you know, it just kind of, it was about technology because the iPhone came out, and it was the reason why that happened is because of my observation to do with the Tamil
Oh,
genocide,
what is
like,
this? Is good boys.
happened during
What will I do?
2011. And I didn't really think too much about the wider scope of how things were going to be in the world. Then everyone cancelled me. And when I was cancelled, I went to India for a bit. And then that's when I discovered what my name meant. And it was kind of a cool thing because in Hinduism, you had a concept of a goddess who was the goddess of music and also the goddess of the untouchables. So it's about giving voice to the voiceless. And she was a goddess of spoken word, which was kind of like rapping. So when the record labels were like, "Why are you political? Because you'd be better making pop records," I brought back this story and I said, "Look, 5,000 years ago, they'd already
Before the dawn
written
of
a
man.
concept where it was possible to be a musician and stick up for people and talk about pollution of information and you know, fight for something. Like it's okay to have these things kind of cross over." And so it was very useful having this Hindu understanding. So I became a Hindu. And so then I went down the path of Hinduism and studied it, and I
That's
tried to
pretty cool.
understand it a lot. And then suddenly,
I wonder
out
if
of
you learned anything
nowhere,
from it.
5 years into it, I had a vision of Jesus. Yeah, while I was
Explain that.
awake.
Okay.
Can you
Let's
describe
go.
that?
No, no, no.
So I just made the Borders video, and
Great video.
yeah, so that was the last thing I did as a Hindu, and it was about again humanity, and I thought that creatively, because Matangi is the goddess of like creativity as well. So I really felt that I had to make this to understand what.
This was it.
Yeah. And you know, the whole time I had the strength to make this video on my own, so I directed it, and we kind of did the whole thing in 20 days.
Wow.
Again, there was a storm. I was going on holiday, and there was a storm where I was going, so I landed in Chennai, and then we were stuck there because of the storm. And we thought, okay, let's just make a video, and we started and finished it from scratch within 20 days.
Wow.
You know, and that I thought was like divine.
It's a huge production.
It's huge.
There's
We
a
had
lot
like
of people in that video.
1,000 people, and we had a
Boats.
crew of 200. It was massive. So to do that very quickly, it's like you had to believe in something to get through, and what the message was, and you know, so I was feeling very comfortable in Hinduism. But the funny thing we did during this video is we kept going to like markets in India and buying really badly spelled shirts, and we were going to put it in the video as a joke, because Indians always make these motivational shirts, but they spell it all wrong. You know, so one of the ones on route to this day, like this specific
unfortunate
day, I
issue
think this was like
happens.
day 2 or 3.
Hope
We
they'll be able to
had
take care
one
of it.
where I was walking on water, and that's because all my stuntmen let me down, so we had to kind of improvise a shot. So they were like, you know, we don't have the ramps that we're going to shoot the speedboat into the air, but we can make you a ramp where you could stand in the water. And I was like, okay. But that day we found a t-shirt that said Jesus sad instead of Jesus said,
Right.
I am the way. So we thought it was funny, and I put on this Jesus sad t-shirt. And so it was kind of weird that we had this shot, and but I didn't really think about it. And then straight after I made this video, something else happened in the Hindu realm. And then I had a vision of Jesus, because
So you see Jesus.
I don't know why, but it happened.
Jealous.
And Matangi,
Wish I could be so fortuitous.
Madangi, the goddess, it was always about freedom of
Kind
speech,
of odd that, you know.
and to protect freedom
Whatever.
of speech. And speech is super important, and it's the articulation of inner thought into external sound. And she resides in the throat, in between your brain sending the signal and being turned into words. And so it was always about truth, you know. And so when I was cancelled, and in between those 2 albums, I was cancelled like 50 other times for all different other reasons. Super Bowl, you know, there's the stuff about when I said Obama should give back his Nobel Peace Prize. Like, there was many, many things. And then Julian Assange, like, you know, meeting him. And then I made the WikiLeaks album. And it was all like a million other things. But then I thought, you know, truth is an important thing. And when I had the vision of Jesus, it's not like I could lie about it or pretend I didn't have it. You know, I still have to be truthful, because even in the context of the thing I'd followed before, which was Madangi, the concept of this deity, it stood for truth. And it was part of my journey and exploration to find out what that meant. And once you take truth serious, then you get revealed this other truth.
Yeah.
And then you're like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, what if this all was supposed to be up to this point, you know? And maybe there's something else that's going to come after.
Not.
I don't know, you know, but at this point, that is a truth, and can't lie about it. And so then I was like, why did that happen? Because my life was I was
Dope.
quite comfortable in Hinduism. And then I guess when 2020 came along, it sort of made more sense.
Right.
You know, it really did feel like things were changing. And even though the Borders song was
Okay,
all
don't
of
eat
those
that
things where I
crap.
was saying we do need a reset.
Mhm.
I said it.
Right.
No other artist said that.
Yeah.
You know, the opening of this song literally says, we need a new rhythm, we need a reset.
Mhm.
And then you throw all these things into the air, like what does values mean? What does your family mean? What does your belief mean? What does
Politics.
your politics mean? Or the borders, or everything, you know, as large topics and issues. What do they all mean once you begin to tear at the fabric of society where meanings are given to things, and you know, and we override that, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so of course all of those things are going to start breaking, you know, if you remove the foundation. And so I was already there in 2016 asking these questions because yes, I saw
Hi,
the
hello, Pepper.
change,
How are
know.
you?
And
Huh?
and I guess it was written before Trump
Yeah.
came into
I just
power.
need some love and attention.
And so then I
Please
was,
be careful around my arm.
I after you asked those questions, you're just kind of like, well, what do you do now?
Yeah.
You know, and then I had the
Be careful,
vision,
please.
and I don't know why, and I don't understand what was the reason for it. And then when 2020 happened, I
gotta be
see it
careful.
on like a bigger level to be like, okay, this is, you know,
You
certain
can't nudge
things
into my
happen
wound.
because they have to happen. And you know,
Right? Right.
it's
Okay,
I guess
be
we're still
cool.
living through that time.
I had a very similar experience where I was an atheist. Christ offered me the only structure and joy to chaos that this world gives you, and it was happening up into lockdowns. As you're also noticing, like we were talking about technology and like this
There you go,
totalitarian techno world we're in, they're trying to become God, and they're trying to be omniscient. You know,
Yes.
whereas like
Chinese
there's an
language.
ancient omniscience that I was now believing in because it's the
Definitely
only way to push
requires
back against this fake omniscience
intense.
in the world.
Exactly.
But you also recently got baptized
Last summer, yeah.
No
last
kidding.
summer.
Yep.
A lot of people.
We're in a revival, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of people come into this studio
Yep.
who are, oh yeah, you know, I found Christ and things like that. Or more specifically that.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. It gives you peace now because I don't know where
Yeah.
else to find it. I mean, even Hinduism, I have a lot of people around me who are. It's chaotic, you know, and therapy doesn't have
You
the
just need
answer.
pets
Science
forever,
doesn't
like-
really have the answer, and you know, science is a study
No, I
to me,
can't.
but it's not the answer, you know.
So that is
um,
4 or 5
And
engines.
I was very, very, very judgmental. My mum was a Christian
Much
for
would
a
be
long, what
nice
is,
to take.
and I was very judgmental and always felt like, you know, I'm an intellectual and I look down at Christians as something as it, you know, like naive people followed because they
yeah.
had nothing else,
Yep.
you know. But I don't think that anymore.
The weirdest thing to me is that people will lie and claim I'm an atheist. I don't understand it.
You've said, I mean, I've heard you say it hundreds of
There-
times that you're not an atheist. on
There's
the show.
never been an instance where we've done a show where I have ever said I'm atheist or I don't believe in God.
I think you've even said it, this story many times of like going to a skater's house and
Yeah.
seeing the
Yeah.
painting of Jesus and asking him like what's up with that, and like
Yeah.
Just
him giving you that
need
that
more
nuance
attention
that perhaps
to
we don't all
that.
But
have. in
there
the
are
faith.
atheists who do the right thing as well sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
and,
for
and,
sure.
and they don't know why they
Uh-huh.
do what they do, but
I-
they that's okay. Like for example, Julian
Nothing's in
Assange, I would say
there.
he's
Right.
like that. You know, he's like my dad.
He's
Where
an atheist.
I
He's
should.
an atheist.
Got to talk to him. He's wrong.
Yeah,
And
a lot of smart
but
people are wrong.
it doesn't mean, you know, he's also not willed by
Wha-
a certain power that, you know, that is
Yes, babe?
because people find
What?
the drive and the will and the energy from somewhere to do what they do. And
When I get up
you know,
next,
he
sure.
went up against things that
Is that POV season?
a very selfless cause, you know. It's like he doesn't benefit from what he did. You know, he was
Right.
trying to speak about pointless deaths of some journalists, which will affect many, many journalists, but doesn't really, you know, he had no gain. It's not like he was going to end up with $1 billion tech company at the end of it, you know. And a lot of people in that time did. Like, loads of people became billionaires off tech companies, yet this man didn't, you know. So he was willed from something.
Those people became billionaires, ended up working in tandem with the government
Yes.
and letting them censor all of us
Yes.
during lockdowns.
And we got, you know, we got that tech became used to go after every single person in humanity. And, you know, whatever your Harari is talking about now, whether humans are hackable or whatever, however that is done, you know, is through all of these
Can I help you, Caitlin?
technologies that
Yeah.
are sold
I'd also say
us out.
Christ is like the greatest subverter of evil, and so to be Christ-like is try to subvert evil, and what Assange did is subverting evil, and that's why I think a lot of the evil people in government hate that transparency, because they're like, oh, he's exposing. Well, what he really did, you know, above just showing us the videos of all this horrible murders of civilians, is he exposed the Uniparty, because at one point Hillary Clinton is on TV saying he's the worst person ever, and then there's people on Fox News calling for his murder. Like, they're saying, I know it's illegal, but if you see him, you know, take care of him. So it was like
They
two
were saying that
people
on
on both
Fox News.
sides. Oh yeah,
And then you had the famous line, Hillary Clinton asking, "Can we just drone this guy?"
right.
But you know what it is Julian Assange was sharing the truth. And
yeah, and also, like, there's many people, it's not even, I get it, because you'd say, oh, he's an outsider, he's not American, therefore he's evil, you know, and he's anti-American.
Yeah.
But there's many people in America who say, for example, when we
Sorry,
talk about
said you had
RFK and he's
me
talking
playing
about
the game.
poisonous food in the system, someone like Julian doesn't have to harm Americans in that way, because you could go to the supermarket and there's enough things in there that harms Americans. You know, you don't have to drone Americans, because Americans are selling
Take care of
Americans bad
ourselves.
food, you know,
Right.
and that you know, and medical care, like their medical care is so expensive.
The issue is
a
that
lot of them
you guys aren't willing
are
to
not
take that next step.
interested in how
which
like,
is not
they should
violence.
Right.
be, or
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like
It's like you guys don't
there's loads
see
of
it.
there's loads of things that American companies do themselves to hurt Americans.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And I think 2020 was like
Oh.
the first time you really saw that. Like, you saw how American government didn't care about the American people. Like, this is the first time American people saw that.
realized it.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you're not paying attention to the news, and that's what I was talking about when I opened the show, like, everyone's shocked now, and it's wild to see all of these tweets from people
that
who are
in.
not Trump supporters after the guilty verdict being like, "Holy crap, this country's blowing up." And I'm like, man, that I felt that way when I was hearing about the drone strikes. Obama killed, I think, like 4. I don't know how many American citizens. It was like 4. The two most notable are Anwar and Abdulrahman al-Awlaki. American citizens, no charge, no trial. Obama blew them up.
Yeah. He was
And-
also terrible to journalists.
Oh yeah, and so when I had heard,
Yes, the internet, the net neutrality thing.
or the espionage. Oh yeah, but there was a,
No, like all for normal
Yes,
public.
I
you
know
know,
you want that
our
for all.
internet at that time in 2009, we were like,
My kid
hey,
keeps clawing
you
at
know,
me.
to understand the internet, like the government
Yeah,
wasn't.
I need love.
I mean, maybe I was naive thinking that, but I felt like, oh, they hadn't quite processed how big the internet is and what it means to, you know, to regulate it. But instead of it being regulated for the people, it got regulated for the tech companies to become billionaires, you know.
oh yeah,
And
That's the game they play.
that was the thing
Die.
between
Come back.
well, it was Obama's years, you know.
yeah. When the National Defense Authorization Act, I think this was
Oh,
2012, was
actually,
signed. This was the one with the indefinite detention provision in it. They actually said for the National Defense Authorization, the president will have the right to basically rendition anybody. Show up to your house, middle of the night, black bag you, drag you off to a
bueno.
barge somewhere and hold you, and they're allowed to do it. And
That would
Congress
suck, I-
signs this. I thought when
hope
that
Congress
happened, I was
doesn't.
like, wow, this country is done. Obama killed American citizens, and I'm like, this is the worst. This is the worst president this country's ever seen.
Why?
Everyone's outside cheering and screaming and celebrating, and I'm just like, this is horrifying.
You could slow jam the news with Jimmy Fallon.
He puts on a
Wow,
tan
throwing
suit.
People, yeah.
He blows people up, and then nobody cares. He puts on a tan suit, and everyone's making
It's
easily.
okay. We
distracted.
both like Kendrick Lamar, so I guess it's okay when it comes to him. You know, but
Yep.
it's funny and not funny. I think one of our biggest problems is our short-term memory because this is just cyclical. Like the Trump thing is a new, unprecedented situation, but you know, thinking of Assange and what they're doing to him. I mean, the Pentagon Papers came out during Vietnam. Ellsberg was that guy who released him. There was a manhunt for him. Nixon shut down New York Times for 15 days, I think it was. You know, like there's constantly whistleblowers that, you know, during wartime that the government just doesn't want you exposed because I think about this a lot yesterday because like with Assange, they'll say, oh, well, he hurt national security. Who's
Yeah.
security? The
Yeah.
elites. The elite
Right,
security, not ours.
He helped us.
Right.
Julian
Assange
Assange.
Yeah,
us.
and also like Snowden, he was American.
Right.
So there's the difference, you know, like then because of that, then you have somebody like Snowden come up after who was like, okay, well, I'm an American and I'm going to do this for American people, you know, and because I don't know, I guess he's on his own, they were able to say, well, he's a Russian asset or something and sort of build
might
that.
be all
But
right to get
again, I think he
all
was
this stuff
he was
after.
genuinely doing it for the American people.
I don't
And
need that.
then you get Donald Trump, and now here's the current iteration, and he is certainly an imperfect avatar of a lot of the anger people have.
Yeah.
But, you know, Edward Snowden is witnessing all of the lies, the corruption. You've got, was it Brennan lied to Congress?
Well, yeah, Clapper too.
Clapper, was
You
it
know,
Clapper?
Yeah, when he said we weren't.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
collecting.
That's what I meant,
Yeah,
not Brennan.
yeah.
We're not collecting data, and then Snowden's like, I'm gonna just slide this over here to a couple of journalists. The one problem I see with Snowden was he didn't actually read what he leaked. He knew some of it, and then he grabbed a big trove of documents and just dumped them out there. And I'm like, yeah, okay, it's good that we exposed X-Keyscore and these other spying programs, but he actually got called out, rightfully so, and he acknowledged this, that some of the stuff he released was not properly redacted. He gave this stuff to journalists. The journalists published it, and it actually put people at risk.
Right.
And he owned up. He said, yep, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. But I got to say, like, the net positive in the end, where we are today, knowing what they're doing is good. I will also then say, but has any of it stopped?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
No reform, no stopping.
And
What's
that's
going on?
why Omni clothing line is here.
New
because
commercial.
it ain't gonna stop.
It's not going to stop.
Another thing that's
I think it is
I
actually.
mean, Five Eyes, like we were talking about earlier, it's born out of
Stop
stuff like
and it's gonna
Project
stop,
Shamrock,
guys.
Project
But hey.
Minaret, Project Echelon.
What do I know?
That's just global
But a fool.
surveillance constantly, and they're getting RCA to the government's infiltrating RCA and all radio stations and telegrams. That's in the 40s. That's happening. You know, they obviously didn't stop. Now we're on the collective consciousness of Twitter, where they can just pick you right out, and they're watching you not just on your phones. They're watching you with Lockheed Martin satellites in the sky.
That's why they got so mad when Elon
Yeah.
bought Twitter and turned it into X.
Yeah.
Because this is basically their mass surveillance and manipulation program, and it looks like convenience to us. It's addicting. People
But
need to be on it.
See, this is then you have to get back to the spirituality thing because
Well,
what is the point?
I think
of
you're correct on
studying
that, Tim. I think you're
humans?
missing the plot.
You know, and what is the point of all that? It's like you want to
Jeez,
make them
sounds
buy
good.
more things
Well,
to become rich. Okay, then you become rich. What do
I
you
guess
do
the
with all that
reasoning
money?
is a
Like
bit,
right now,
out
say
there.
the military-industrial complex or whoever you're talking about, they have so much money, or BlackRock. What do you do with that money? You control humans.
Yeah.
What do you do with that control? You know, why do you want to control the humans? So
Lead
it just
them
keeps
down
going
the
round and round in
righteous
this
path from the perceptive of the
circle of
elites.
questions. You're like, why do we do that?
We're
You know?
constantly experimenting on ourselves.
Yeah. So why are you trying to control them to spend money so you make money and you make them send? Like, that seems so pointless. Like, especially digital currency, you could just think of a number and put it in there. Like, you know, BlackRock could just already be doing that,
Well,
saying we have $50 trillion today.
They do.
you know,
They get
and they do.
they get loans from the Federal Reserve. They get loans directly from the central
Yeah,
banks.
but it doesn't even have to be a loan. You can literally just digitize, put in whatever number that
But-
the computer can hold.
And
you know.
that's literally how they do it. When money is created upon the issuance of debt. So when BlackRock says, "Hey, we're going to buy this house," they just type in a number on a computer, press enter, and now the money exists in the account of the person who sold the property.
Yeah.
And that's the-
so then that's the time we're living in. Even money will just is like, you know, what is the value?
Yep.
So the value
This is why people like Bitcoin, because it is decentralized and they can't control it. They can put blocks in, they can put in law and things like this, but ultimately,
Well,
it's too big. It's too big for them.
Yeah, so then you're like, okay.
sounds like I'll have to stop here
must
for the day,
be,
guys. I'm gonna have to
uh
take care of my sweet son.
it must be some sort of spiritual warfare